welcome to Takri Technology Talk Show. In today's segment, we'll be talking about the fraud and security issues in banking and financial sectors, and mostly we'll be talking about the current cyber security attack that has happened in the banking sector of Pakistan. To cover today's topic technically with us, we have Mr. Zishan Shahzad. Mr. Zishan Shahzad is a senior technical security advisor, and he's serving in Saudi Arabia for the past 20 years in this sector. So we have with us Mr. Zishan. Welcome to our show. Mr. Zishan, the recent cyber attack on the banking sector in Pakistan has been a hot topic in all the medias. So we would like to know from you what exactly has happened and what is the correct news, because we hear a lot of different diversified inputs from technical people, from media, from the normal people. So we would like to know what exactly is the situation behind this attack.
Great. Thank you very much for inviting to such an interesting show. And today we have very hot topic, which is definitely of interest to everybody who are in financial sector and also the common public as well. So before talking about the issue which we have been facing since past 1 month or 2 months in Pakistan related to cyber attack on a banking sector, which people have been discussing from different angles, business angle, financial angle, and other angles, technical angles, I will just build upon a background. I will give a quick landscape of the banking environment so our viewers can understand that what's the breadth and depth of banking landscape and where this issue lies.
Exactly,
and so we can focus later on that issue. So in the banking environment, we have many players. We have to understand all the stakeholders before identifying what type of risks, threats that banking sector face.
Okay, I'll just cut you here to just ask you a question. So, for the people to understand, so for me being a normal person, what I am understanding from this explanation is that we cannot say that the whole banking system is one layer. It's like multiple layers, and for every layer there is certain chunk of security which is being handled by those layers by itself, and the different layer security then chain itself together to form the complete security of the environment.
Indeed, that's true. So let me talk about the stakeholders. For example, in the banking sector, one entity is a bank.
Right.
The banks used to be big brick and mortar banks. People used to go to a physical location, do their transactions, put the money in, it's kept in a safe or vault or anything which is protection for that money. Now that has changed. Now that bank is going towards as a digital economy, digital currency, digital market, digital landscape. So everything is going to be digital. Everything is digital. And this digital banking has introduced more risk, more challenges. So bank is one entity. And then there is regulation. Banking regulators are one entity. Customers is one entity. Legal framework around banking is another entity. Law related to banking, customer, privacy, confidentiality, integrity, that's another entity. Then law enforcement is another thing. So all these entities work together to create a secure environment within any country to have a secure digital banking environment. So while you introduced in your discussion that we have to talk about the risks which have been faced by Pakistani banking sector.
Yeah.
So to identify and to track that risk, we have to understand that this is just a piece of a puzzle.
All right. So here, what I'm understanding is that now different layers, different security, different type of risk. So I'm feeling that most probably there has been maybe a single layer or multiple layer that could have gone compromised because of less security level, or maybe those layers were not following the proper security standards. So can we just target those layers and talk about them and see where the things are
Okay, definitely. We can-
creating the problem. Yeah.
As you have rightly asked, that there are definitely multiple layers which are working there. So let's start from the regulatory layer.
Yeah.
So there is central bank in every country that provides the regulations. Those regulations should be adhered by the financial institutions and the banks. This regulation, sometimes it's enforced regulations by the central bank, sometimes it's enforced through the legal bodies which are in that country.
Right.
Now, once these institutions provide those regulations, these are called local regulations or governmental regulations. There are then international regulations. For example, banking doesn't work within that country, just they are working with other countries as well. So there is regulations from SWIFT, there is regulations from Visa, there is regulation from MasterCard, Amex, there is regulation related to payment card industry which is called PCI. So there are multiple regulations in place which has to be adhered to. And these regulations, sometimes they are best practices,
Right.
sometimes they are mandatory regulations.
Mhm.
So once these regulations are properly adopted by a bank, then that bank can have a regulatory framework available. Now, once the framework is there, people have to implement that framework. So there is a governance layer within our organization.
All right.
There is people, process, technology layer. So
Right.
all these layers have to be addressed to ensure that you have a comprehensive 360-degree coverage of your environment.
Right. Another very important topic, as you mentioned while you were explaining this, is related to the cards. It could be Master, it could be Visa, it could be any debit card. A lot of people got under the pressure that if they use their card while this security breach happened, the cyber attack happened, they could lose their money. For a non-technical person, this would have made less of a sense that how this card can just be misused when it is already with him. So we would like to have an in-depth understanding from you. What is the card fraud exactly?
That's the crux of our discussion. So card fraud is definitely something which maybe every one of us might have faced during their lifetime, because the debit and credit cards, they are so often used along with the currency which we are using that everybody might have used it at some place. Now, this card data which is within that card, this card physically it's a secure card. It means the content within that card, there is a magnetic strip at the back of the card which contains that contents.
Right.
So whenever you go to a point of sales, purchase something, they swipe the card or they dip the card and use your information to get authorization from the bank. Now this information which is in the card, that's a critical information. What scammers do, they copy that information. So the information on your Max drive, if that get copied, it means the record of your card is duplicated.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that duplicated card can be misused. So this is one sort of card fraud. Sometimes people for offline transactions or internet transactions, you might not need to swipe a card. You might have to type in that information in.
Right.
So if you use some sites which are not properly secure,
Mhm.
your information which you have typed in on those electronic websites, that might get stolen and misused. So there could be multiple channels. So as a customer, you have to make sure that you are well aware how to use your card properly.
Right.
Not to share your card, not to take pictures and send it to your friends,
Exactly.
not to go to insecure websites, not to write it somewhere, that information, because the PAN number on the front, the name, the expiry, the CVV code, all these are important information. If somebody gets exposed to that information, he can do the purchases online.
Exactly, and I think the main thing which was related to the card fraud was that a lot of people were receiving a lot of false calls, taking the name of the officials, taking the name of very big organizations in Pakistan, faking around and collecting very important information from the people. We'll take a small break here, and once we are back, we'll talk about the topic that who really benefits from all these cyber attacks and everything.
फायजा ब्यूटी क्रीम, मेरा भरोसा।
Education is not a way of life. In essence, it's a way of being. Great minds are developed by great teachers at New Generation Private School. Our defining principle is to enforce the highest quality of learning. NGPS's students are special to us, and your trust in us is well placed. NGPS is where your child is treasured, valued, and appreciated. Enroll your child into a better future.
Okay, welcome back, Zishan. We would like to know now this cyber attack has happened. Some banks claim they have lost something, some claim they have not lost something. No matter what's the situation, we would like to know who benefits from these attacks, how the people, the hacker or the organization behind this can run from this situation for a very long time.
Yeah, actually there could be various benefactors of such stolen data. First beneficiary might be the person who has stolen their data and they want to use it for their financial gains. They might purchase something from that stolen card. That could be very basic type of attack where somebody might have stolen a card, single card, and misusing it. There could be hackers or activists who might be collecting their data for sale. So they might try to put various skimming devices on different point of sales, on different ATMs, and from those skimming devices they collect a lot of data before putting it on a dark web for sale or before putting it in any marketplace for the sale. That's another way to do that. Another thing, sometimes what I see in the current context of our environment, we should not go with the rumors. We should not, because sometimes while social media and digital media and all those medias, they might be discussing a topic, they might not have full information of all the aspects. Sometimes you are aware that now the wars are not on the border. The wars are economic wars.
Right.
Sometimes there is nation-state hackers. Sometimes they try to create an economic situation in the country. In the old times, it was run on the bank. People go to the bank. They don't trust the bank. Sometimes it could be the actors which might be creating a situation that the financial sector in the country is not secure. The financial environment is not secure. Let's not trust them. So what that creates, the investors might not be attracted to put the money in our banking environment. That's a very negative effect. Another effect could be the international rating agencies like Moody, the Fitch, S&P. All these rating agencies, they rate financial instruments and they put interest rates on those. So those rates and everything that get affected because of the trust on the financial industry. So it's a type of a warfare which is affecting the country negatively. So people should make sure that they refrain from going towards rumors, not listening to anybody. So that's why I said that it's from the governance framework. There should be a body who should be the spokesperson for the country. So there should be a designated body who should tell if we are under attack, what has happened, what is the true situation, and there should be legal framework that if somebody tries to malign the financial sector or create some rumors, there should be a penalty for them. There should be a legal prosecution for that environment.
Do you think that a lot of legal steps that you have explained to us is in place in the banking sector, or I'll say the financial sector in Pakistan, or even if it is in place, is it taken care properly? Because what we see from the media, it looks like a lot of speculations are around. With a lot of people who are talking on the topic, they don't have in-depth knowledge. They really don't know what they are talking about. We have heard some of the news which really sounded very funny, and in reality there was no such thing. Which really have affected the economy of the country in the negative way, as you have mentioned. So the thing is that what I want to understand here is in Pakistan, do you see that the things are really implemented, or if it's implemented, is it taken care by the right organizations or not? What do you have input on this?
Yeah, actually, definitely there are various regulations in place. The central bank has all those required regulations related to security, electronic banking. Even the international bodies like PCI, payment card industry, have their regulations. BASEL is in place. COSO is there for enterprise risk management. So there are international best practices standards. There are the central bank standards, and even banks have their own standards in place. Now the things comes to adopting those standards, implementing it and enforcing it.
Right.
So it could be something which is just a suggestion, or it should be enforcement. So maybe the regulator might need to enforce it with a stick. That could be one way to put it. And also the banks themselves, they have to make sure that this directly affects their bottom line, the profitability, the trust,
Right.
the goodwill. So they have to use all those controls to make it secure for the customers.
All right, let's take a short break, and once we'll be back, we'll talk about the solution from all these problems.
फायजा ब्यूटी क्रीम, मेरा भरोसा।
लाहौर में घर बनाने का ख्वाब अब ख्वाब नहीं रहेगा। किसी भी इलाके में प्लॉट, घर, दुकान या दफ्तर लेने और तामीर के लिए अभी राब्ता कीजिए मियां ज़हूर अहमद 03214500 या फिर 03034500.
Welcome back. So towards the end of our session, we would like to talk about the solution in case of such cyber attack. So Mr. Zishan, what's your suggestion? What would you recommend as part of this cyber attack? What should be done, and what the organizations should take into consideration?
Yeah, actually, while the topic is very deep and very long, and it requires a lot of discussion, we have tried to cover main objectives. However, just to quickly glimpse upon the opportunities of success and how we can fix the solution, I will give you a quick tips which can help our audience to understand what should be done in that regard. So, security is a dynamic thing. It's a dynamic landscape. So it's not like a one fixed approach. You have to have constantly evolve according to the threat landscape. So threat landscape is evolving, and our controls have to evolve. Controls could be preventive, detective, corrective, administrative controls. They have to be implemented at strategic, tactical, and operational levels, and they have to be implemented in all the environments and from within the bank, third parties which we are dealing with, the customers. Awareness is an important thing which many times people ignore. So peoples are the weakest link. People, if we have the best device and we have non-trained people, unaware people, they can create the biggest gaps in our environment. So we have to ensure that we constantly train all the stakeholders, including our employees, the vendors, the third parties, and the customers as well. Like for example, when you mentioned about phishing attacks where people receive messages via phishing email or SMS or anything, they should be aware that somebody might be social engineering us to get that data. They should be aware that which website we should go to. They should know that while somebody is taking their card and using on the point of sales, if they have some additional device planted on that, they should identify that what normal ATM looks like and what abnormal ATM looks like. Similarly, that's from the bank's perspective. From outside, there should be bodies, there should be regulators, which should collectively work together, different agencies to work together, create a consolidated incident response. So consolidated incident response and awareness of general public, that's the key. Also, there are various international regulations which I mentioned are available. All those regulations should be adopted to their best, and they have to be kept up with the compliance or a certificate. The purpose is to ensure the security of the environment. So it's a lot of things which should be done, could be done, and if they are done just for a compliance certificate, they will not give us the results. The technologies also have to be constantly upgraded. People have to be constantly upgraded.
Right. Thanks a lot, Zishan. Viewers. So as we have seen from the explanation from the expert, that security is not a one black box thing. It's a layered approach, and every layer has certain standards to be followed. And it's very important for any organization to have the right resource in place who can rightly tune up that layer from all security perspective and standards. All the layers hand in hand then form a complete security infrastructure for any organization. And having any speculation about any small issue can really cause an economic losses for the country. So media and all such organizations play a very important role. So all the responsible people in those organizations should have done a proper research before coming to the media. In the end, I would really like to thank Mr. Zishan for giving us the time for today's show, and we really had a very good explanation on the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.